I've always had a dream to retire my parents, but like not just to retire them and that's it. Always want to make a lot of money, and one of my biggest motivation ever was to buy my parents wherever they wanted. You know, even before I have the vision that I would pay my dad's bills and rents and everything, that I would take care of everything just so that he can do whatever he wants, even have before having the vision. As a kid, when I was like 13 14 years old, I would still want to make money just so that I could buy my mom and dad things. I've always liked using my money for other people too. Morning cappuccino here. Boys, it's about to be a great day. I will, for after a long time, stay home for the whole day just working. And then there's the last video I'm making before we go to Egypt. Next week I'm going to Egypt. We'll stay there for about a week, and then obviously I can't wait to go there and have fun and everything. The vacation, flipping 45 degrees, but I just love the idea of waking up in like a nice hotel with a nice view before every one of my family members, like 5 6 a.m. even in Egypt, and with the sunlight, and just start working on my laptop on my business. That's, bro, I just love it. But it always comes back to parents. So I've always wanted to retire my parents. And I'm pretty sure you wanted to too, right? Most of the young entrepreneur guys, they have the specific goal, or one of their main goals, to retire their parents, right? You obviously you love your parents. They're the reason why you're who you are today. At least for me, my parents are the reason why I am who I am today. And now that I realize, I make most of my videos talking about what I'm going through and how to overcome mindset situations, but I rarely make videos. I do make personal videos where I'm talking about myself, my situation, but I rarely make videos where I talk about my family and stuff. And so I want you to know my dad's story. I want you to know how, like, most of the people do say, I'm who I am because of my parents. But let me tell you why I actually am who I am, and I'm becoming who I am becoming because of my parents. Nice, bro. So my dad, in I think 2005, he went in Italy, and he illegally migrated in there, right? So he came into the Italy illegally, and the whole process was just an absolute nightmare, bro. Most of you guys that know how like people legally immigrate, you should know what's the process. It's like crazy, and like a big percentage of the people die on the process, and you have risks to die, and he did all this just for us, just so that we could have a good life and we could live a decent life. So he came in, and you know my family got there. We were all good. I was born in Italy. I had a really good life in Italy. Even my dad, he started off slowly. Luckily, he did not have to live that terrible life where like people have to live in like abandoned houses and so on, right? He lived a pretty decent life just because he had people that he already knew there in Italy. And so slowly started going up and up and up. He got a job. He was finding providing pretty well for us. He was working a better and then a better job. He could have afford more. Then he bought like a small little Rover, and it was getting better. So he bought a little motorcycle. Then he went on, sold that car. He bought a nice BMW. I think it was the 325i. I'm not a big BMW guy, so I'm not sure with the models. But it's a nice looking car, and we had that for a few years. Then he sold it, and he had like a nice C180 Mercedes, which like around 2015, 2016 was a pretty good car, right? Now we were living a decent life, and I was going to school. My brother was going to school, my sister was going to college, and we were all going well. Our relatives were there, like very close to us. We were living a really good life, and my dad slowly worked his ass up to a good pay, right? In Italy, this like considered like a lot of pay. In Italy, I think the average, at least on those times, was 1.2k to 1.5k. He was making like 2.5k, and he was going pretty well until my sister got a chance in a university in UK. So that's why things changed, and 2019 we moved here into the UK. I couldn't understand a single word of what people were saying, but slowly learned, went to school and so on. And I've been now 6 years in UK, and man, I've grown in here really. Um, when I look at my dad's situation, bro, I'm like, man, this guy had dreams, right? This guy had crazy dreams. He was going so well in his life in Italy. He could have stayed there. Just the fact that he moved into Italy illegally, risking his whole life and working his ass off from zero to a point where he was able to even afford the Mercedes was crazy. But the fact that he did all that for us already gives me a crazy push. But to think that he gave up everything a second time to come to the UK just so that now not only we have a good decent life, but also we could have education, that makes me blow my mind. And when we moved here, my dad was like 41, 42 years old, 42 or 43 years old. So that age, this much dedication, where you moved already, giving up everything you had and building everything from zero, going all the way up there. If he was like working a really good job, right? He was working like train rails. Now I don't know specifically, but he was working on trains, and he was like the manager. If he stayed there for 2 more years, he would have been promoted to director, because he worked the same job for like 10 years, 15 years, right? If he would have stayed there 2 more years, so by now he would have already been a director, and his salary was gonna go up to 4k, 4.5k, which is really good for someone that immigrated illegally in there, right? And by the way, like within a few months, years, we were like already normal citizens. We got the passport and everything, and he was, we were paying taxes and everything. We were going to schools in Italy and so on. Me and my brother were born in Italy, by the way. But all that story apart, obviously I don't give a fuck about education, academic education, and it's not even anything that I won't even talk about in this video. Like, it's not about education. So, and if you guys know me, if you watch my videos, you just know I think college is completely useless. I did not go to college. I'm working a full-time job. I think university is useless as well. All these things obviously are useful only if you're going to get like a degree and then use that for the job that you want to work, which should be your passion, right? So if you're gonna be a doctor, if you're gonna be an engineer, 100% go to university. Now I don't see a reason why a football player, a singer, an actor needs to go to college, right, or university, unless they go to the specific ones. But anyways, that's besides the point. Now I guess what I'm trying to say is, shit, I know that guy. What I'm trying to say, I guess, safe to say my dad didn't come to the UK. He didn't come to Italy. I would have been a completely different person, because my mind wouldn't even reach the point of being able to think the amount of money that's possible to make. Let me explain. My dad and my mom, they think certain amounts of money are not even possible to make. Amounts of money that I'm looking up 16 years olds making daily online. I'm talking about 10k a month, something as simple as 10k a month. To me and my parents, and probably many of you guys, if you did not go to university, get crazy doctorate, you are not gonna make nowhere near that much amount of money. They don't know. They don't know the potential online that you have nowadays. That's the mentality that I was probably gonna get if I was born in our country and I stayed there. And even if I knew the potential, I wasn't gonna probably be as motivated as I am, and I wasn't gonna 100% have as much access as I have nowadays. Because in a third world country, you don't get all these things. You don't get all this. I wouldn't get to bulk without having to worrying about expenses, about groceries, about saving up money and so on. I wouldn't have like a proper gym membership without having to worry about it. I wouldn't have a full-time job at the age of 17. I wouldn't have all these things, right? And all this comes down to my parents, right? And don't get me wrong, I'm not talking about my mom, because I was specifically telling my dad's story, but my mom was emotionally there for all three of us. All three of us, my sister, my brother and me, and my dad as well, all four of us. My mom was always there mentally. And trust me, for a girl, for a woman, giving emotional support to other people takes a lot. Takes really a lot. And there's no universe where I don't see myself paying back to these two people that I genuinely love. Now, my dad and my mom, they support me. They know my goals. They know what I'm working towards, and they support me. They are not the type of people to understand and believe that, oh shit, this guy's young, he's working on a business, he's gonna make it, right? They're more of like, good luck, son, do whatever, just don't fail. They're those kind of people when it comes to supporting me, but the support that I got from them was more than enough to go miles without their support and making it. The truth is, your parents will always deserve everything if you decently feel, if you feel decently happy for what you got. Your parents had to go through 10 stages of suffering and pain and so on just for you to be decently happy, decently comfortable. If you have a roof on top of your head, if you have food on the table and a bed to go to sleep into, your parents did an amazing job. There's no reason why they don't deserve everything. They do deserve everything. I think parents are one of the biggest motivations ever. Because other than God, I don't put nobody in front of my parents. And so if I want to make it, I need to go all in. You guys don't understand. You need to have a mindset where you are willing to do everything that is required to make a failure impossible, just so that you can become the best character ever. Whether you want to make 10k a month, 20k a month, whether you want to have the Greek god physique, you want to have an insane amount of discipline, where you are not struggling with inconsistency, you're not struggling with problems, emotional breakdowns, and so on. If you don't want to do it for yourself, you need to do it for your parents. And I was really on such lows that sometimes, I don't want to make it sound like anything crazy. People have been through crazy nightmares and traumas. But I've been through some crazy times in my life where all I needed was discipline. All I needed was hard work and pain and getting punched in the face, falling to the ground, get back up and get hit again. But all I would tell myself is I need to do it to become the best, and I will do it for myself. But if I don't want to do it for myself, I will do it for my parents. If I don't want to do it for my parents, I will do it anyways. Because it doesn't matter what you want or what you don't want. The life that you live today was given to you because of your parents that had to do things that they did not want it to do. I can make simple examples. Staying up at 3 a.m. when you would cry because you was a kid, you was like 3 years old, and you would cry in the middle of the night. Your parents would wake up, they'd have to take you and feed you and comfort you. Do you think they wanted to do that shit? Do you think they went to bed thinking, oh yeah, I can't wait for my son to wake me up so I can comfort him, so I can get off my bed after a long 10-hour shift today, after barely eating anything, after struggling financially? I can't wait to wake up and go and comfort him, and then going back to sleep for me to just sleep like an hour or two and then get back to the same thing again. Do you think they ever willingly did this shit? No, they did not. But they had dedication because they wanted to grow. They wanted to raise a worthy child. They want to raise somebody at the best of their abilities, so that person was going to become somebody. Do you really think your parents, I don't care if you're 20 years old or if you're 40 years old, do you really think your parents are proud of the person that you're today? And I got guys that are like, oh well, you see, maybe, I mean, I bought a car to my dad, not to brag, but I got a graduate, I made my mom's dream come true. Bro, your parents were there when you was a kid, and you wouldn't have to worry about food, sleep, eat, money when you was a kid. Now, is your parents' situation the same? Do they go to sleep knowing that they don't have to worry about bills, about food, about any kind of major problem, financial problem, because of you? Because if that's not the case, you need to put in work, bro. I need to put in work. I'm here ranting about my situation just so that I can give... Guys, this for me, this is a self-talk. For me, this is a self-talk. Because at times, just like you, I also get complacent. I also get inconsistent. I also lose track. I also lose my balance and kind of fade away, and maybe I eat something I shouldn't have eaten. Maybe I don't push as hard in the gym. Maybe I waste an hour where I could have put in work in my business. I'm a human being just like you. But I know for sure, the second you name my parents and the second I remember about the situation they were in because of me, nothing will stop me. And I say this one thing, and I'll say it always. As long as I have God with me and my mindset, nothing will stand in between me and my goals. Nothing. Nothing. And you know what's crazy? Many of you guys see those clips where, the parents are standing in there and the kid comes with the dream car and he's like, look, mom and dad, I made it, and they hug each other. Those videos are nice until you start to understand that you're looking at someone else living your dreams while you're sitting on your phone. As a matter of fact, this guy's probably making money off of you. Money that he used to buy that car. Brother, you need to put in work. You need to wake the fuck up. Get back to work. Imagine being that man that within even less than a year comes back. You have a crazy mentality. Amazing physique. Best financial situation ever. And you drive back home to your parents. And you show them what you achieved. And you give them what they deserve. And they hug you, proud of who you are, proud of themselves for who they've raised. Don't know about you, but that picture is everything to push me. It's everything. And it doesn't have to be your parents only. It can be anyone. The same principle can be used for anyone. Anyone. Anyone that you love. Could be your girlfriend, your wife, your parents, your brother, your best friend, God, anyone. Because the most grateful people are the ones that put somebody else before them. Always. And I remember when I was a kid and I first made like my actual money, I was like 13 years old, and just turned 14. Like, my birthday is the 1st of October, and at that time it was like September, and this happened from September to end of October. And I remember I was like 13 years old, 14 years old, and I was on Fiverr doing video editing, and that's when I started making like my first kind of money as a kid. I was making like 10 to 15 pounds every like 2 days, every 3 days, which is a lot for a kid of my age. And the first £100 that I made, I put it all on my family. I gave them gifts. I didn't keep anything for myself. And I took everyone out to eat. I bought everyone gifts. Now obviously £10 for 4 people, you can't really do much, but my mind was always on what can I do to make them happy. My happiness doesn't come from things. My happiness comes from achievements, and these achievements includes results and products that I can use to benefit others all time. Whether it's the people that are watching me right now, by making this video, I'm giving myself a self-talk, but I could do that without the camera. But maybe someone else on the other side needs to hear it. And if I know that at the end of the video, I can even help just one person, that's way more than enough for me. My happiness, my pride, my gratification always comes from helping others, from giving a benefit to somebody else. Whether you have to pay for it, whether it's for free. When I know that I've improved your situation, that makes me live. That gives me the drive to continue. And the next day to wake up at 5 a.m. again and then push through the day, go to the gym, work with relentless effort through my goals every day. Speaking of which, crazy video with crazy amount of value is coming soon, and vlog is coming soon as well. I don't think I will make like an Egypt vlog, but I will definitely make one of my ordinary life on like how it is to work, like, you know, how it's just my life, like how I balance the gym, working on my business, and, you know, the videos, the job, and everything together. Let's kill it for the next week, guys. As soon as I come back from Egypt, winter arc, it's gonna fucking hit different. Keep grinding.